Helen Keller, and I was born on June 27, 1880 in Tuscumbia, Alabama. When I was 19 months old, I got very sick with a high fever that left me deaf and blind. My mom and dad took me to many doctors, but they all said the same thing. There was nothing they could do for me. I had to learn to communicate. I learned to communicate by using hand signals that I made up. By the time I was 5, I had made up over 50 signs on my own. When I was 6 years old, I got to meet Alexander Graham Bell, who was a deaf teacher. He told us about the Perkins School and that he was sure someone there could help me. So my dad went home and wrote a letter to the head of the Perkins School. The head of the Perkins School responded back and said that he had a teacher in mind, and her name was Annie Sullivan. Annie had never been a teacher before, and she wasn't sure if she could teach me or if he even wanted to. But on March 3rd, 1887, Annie came to live with us as my teacher. I didn't know it yet, but that was the most important day of my life. The first 2 weeks with Annie were hard. I didn't want to listen to her, and I threw many tantrums. So Annie made a good decision by just the 2 of us moving into the cottage house next to the main house. A couple weeks later, I started to obey Annie and trust her. April 5th, 1887 was the day that changed my life forever. As I stood at the water pump with Annie, pumping cold water in my mug and spilling water in my hand, a miracle happened. At that moment, I was finally able to understand that words stood for things. I learned over 400 words in 2 months, and now I thought anything was possible. I had to work hard on reading, and Annie helped me to learn to write. The newspapers started to write stories about me, and I was becoming famous. In May 1888, I met President Cleveland and took a trip to the Perkins School. In the tall 1880s, I returned to the Perkins School to study as their guest. In 1884, I had to leave the Perkins School and I began to study at Wright Thompson School for the Deaf in New York. In 1900, I was accepted to Radcliffe College. I was the first deaf-blind person to graduate. During college in 1903, I was asked to write my first book called The Story of My Life. Then I wrote my second book in 1908, The World I Live In. I traveled the world giving many speeches. I talked about my life and my experiences and how I was able to accomplish all that I did in my life. I became a spokesperson for the American Foundation for the Blind and founded the Helen Keller International Organization. During travels, I met many presidents and made many famous friends, like John F. Kennedy and Dwight Eisenhower and Alexander Graham Bell, Charlie Chaplin, and Mark Twain. After dedicating my life to help others who are blind and inspiring people all over the world, I died on June 1st, 1968, at age 87. I hope you like my presentation.
Comment and a question?
That's it. Did you like typing? My mom helped me type, and I just wrote my facts down, and then she copied them and typed them.
I really like how you cut out the hearts. It looks like it was crumbled all up, and some of the pieces fell, and then you put it back up, and it looks like that.